AITA for not taking my youngest children on their weekend because my oldest daughter had a baby? This is messy. I 40M have been married to my wife Cindy off and on. We had a child together who is now 17. We had a rocky part in our marriage and split for a few years. Where I met a woman, Stacy. We were together for a while. Having twins together. Ages 12. Stacy and I split up. BC she ended up being unfaithful. 2 years later I had reconciled with Cindy. We got my twins every weekend due to our work schedules. This past weekend my oldest daughter went into early labor. It was also my weekend with my twins. I had told Stacy on the way to the hospital that I would not be able to have them this weekend due to this. I had put my phone on silent and away, due to a lot going on. When I returned to my phone I had a bunch of text from Stacy saying how I needed to go home and be with my twins, and how Cindy could handle this situation. I told her absolutely not. That I wasn't missing the birth of my grandchild. She then responded angrily saying how I was picking my oldest daughter over my youngest and how wrong that was since they can only see me on the weekends anyways. I tried texting and calling multiple times throughout the weekend, getting no responses. AITA? Info: why can you only see your twins on weekends? Do you and Stacy typically cover for one another when unavailable? Had you warned Stacy that you'd like her to take the twins when your oldest was delivering your grandchild? Is there a reason you didn't take your twins and arrange childcare? All these YTAs are unhinged. It was an emergency. But if your ex ever needs you to step up in an emergency for the twins, don't be a hypocrite. And I would obviously prioritize seeing them next weekend if your ex allows it to make up time. There needs to be flexibility when life happens. That's parenting. And why I'm not suited. NTA all these fools saying YTA and she woulda be fine without you OBVS have never been a support person to someone giving birth. Adding in your 17-year-old child went into early labor on top of that makes it an emergency. Could you have arranged childcare for your twins? Yes. But you were all panicking in the situation. BC early labor can be life or death for both baby and mom, so I get it. But your ex could have been way more understanding considering she's been through childbirth. Info: was it discussed with your ex prior about what the plan was if your daughter went into labor on your weekend? NTA: ignore these people op. Labor is an emergency. Especially premature. Especially at 17. Especially if you're in the US. We have awful mortality and complication rates. Your child undergoing a painful, scary, life-threatening procedure that could maim, kill, and mentally destroy her was something that absolutely took priority over a regular weekend with your younger children. Make it up to your twins later by taking them somewhere extra fun next weekend and explain how dangerous and scary childbirth could be and how you would drop everything to be at their sides in the same situation. As for their mom, having your ex have an emergency and being unable to take the kids during their time is an expected part of the co-parenting process. I'm not sure what plans she could have had, but frankly, emergencies take precedence. A copy of my comment elsewhere. Just with a vote for the bot. NTA: I don't understand all this YTA votes. How on earth was he meant to have something arranged when this was an emergency situation? Woman facepalming too many butt hurt on this sub. Stacy's plan. Op's oldest child having an early labor. Whatever Stacy has planned. Op's oldest child having an early labor. Stacy might have made whatever plans for the weekend. Oh no. Op's oldest child had an early labor though. That is not equal. If Stacy can't understand how important the birth of your first grandchild is, Did Stacy not even care for your oldest daughter? She had an early labor. NTA. Stacy should be more understanding. Easy for all these people to say that you're an asshole when you were the one who had to go through the stress of worrying that your eldest daughter can have a healthy delivery. If Op chose the twins, the title of this post would be, AITA that I abandoned my eldest daughter. And the birth of my first grandchild? Single quote. YTA. This was your responsibility to figure out. It was your weekend. Making your ex rearrange her schedule because you decided not to get the kids is absolutely unacceptable. Your weekend means that you need to arrange childcare if needed. Do better. Hard NTA. Your 17-year-old daughter going into early labor is an emergency. Yes, your ex may have had plans, but emergencies happen at the most awkward of times. I'm sorry your ex wasn't understanding and quite shocked by the amount of YTA you are getting TBH. NTA. It's an emergency. NTA. I can see why so many people are getting worked up about time management and childcare. This, however, does not translate directly to this situation. If your daughter goes into labor, you need to be there with her if you can be. There is no ideal option for the twins. There aren't many possibilities for a time-centered emergency. Childcare isn't that easy to find on that short of notice. For those of you who might not know, showing up at the hospital is not choosing between your kids. It is being a good parent and a good grandparent. Congratulations BTW. Hopefully this situation will settle down with a little bit of time. Info. Were you an active part of 17's birthing team? Had you established an in case of emergency plan for 12's care? Some of y'all must have not grown up in split homes. They kids are 12, they are going to be aunts, and their mother could have sat them down and explained. It was an emergency. A child was having a child and the father was there for her, which doesn't mean he cares more about her. It means a child is having a child. The mother is being petty about it all. NTA. NTA. The twins will not be scarred for life if you miss one weekend with them, especially as they are old enough to know their older sister was in the hospital. I have a 6-year-old, and when her 4-year-old sister was in the hospital, we had to cancel important plans we had together that had been booked weeks early, and she is 6 and understood that emergencies happen. Your other daughter is also still a child, and she took priority for that single weekend, and that's okay. I get the mom was annoyed or frustrated at the change of plans, but it makes it an unfortunately situation rather than someone being an asshole. The kids would have been better off with their mom than waiting hours in a hospital room alone. That is the most boring thing ever for kids to do. If it was a habit, I would say you were the asshole. However, it sounds like it is the first time it's happened, and we all panic sometimes when our children have a medical situation, especially if the baby was early. This was just a once-off bad timing situation, and everyone should just move on. NTA. The birth of a human is one of the situations that can definitely be defined as an emergency. This is a one-off situation. You're 20-year-old, practically a child herself. Kid is having your first grandchild. Of course you aren't going to be wrangling 12-year-olds in the midst of that. But can you pick them up for HT second half of the weekend and they spend some time with their new niece, nephew? Assure the twins' mother you'll do the same for them when they have their first child. Drop everything and look after them on that day too. BTW. Congratulations Grandpop. NTA. This isn't a habit. It was, in fact, the first time. Sometimes things happen. Your child was having a child. Of course you wanted to be there. Your daughter probably felt secure in the knowledge that dad was there. If being a no-show during your time was a habit, I would feel differently. NTA. I really don't understand all the YTA comments. In another comment you have said you covered for her previously and you haven't missed any other weekends with the twins. Your oldest daughter giving birth is a really important event. I wouldn't want to miss the birth of my grandchild either. Edit. NTA. NTA. And I say this as a divorced parent whose ex had our kid every other weekend. Sometimes important things come up so you need to adjust, and a teenager going into early labor is 100% an important thing. NTA. This was a medical emergency, and even if it wasn't, your child was giving birth, any parent would be there. Maybe you could have handled it differently. Maybe she could have brought the twins and you all could have been a family together. But it sounds like things between you aren't very smooth. I really don't know how you all are making the mother's theoretical plans more important than one of his children giving birth. I think a lot of you are taking out issues on Op. Could he have handled it a little better? Sure. But point is, he was there for the child that needed him. The other two were safe and sound. NTA. OMG. People give the guy a break. He has his twins every weekend. And due to his 17-year-old daughter going into premature labor, he couldn't take his twins once. Woman facepalming. Now let me ask all of you who are saying he should have done this or done that, how many of you are totally clear-headed in an emergency? And yes, a 17-year-old going into premature labor is an emergency. Some of you need to show a bit of empathy.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.